What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Today we are going to be going through all of the new rings and where you can get them. Now, I will give suggestions on each map as far as where I personally would go to farm the ring, as far as what is the easiest incursion, and my personal opinions on what my favorite rings are. Now, of course, what ring is best is depending on what build you're going for and what it is going to add to the current build that you have. Now, first things first, remember all of the rings are prime, they're Chaos 9 only, so they're only in the Chaos 9 prime incursions, no rings anywhere else. So this is 100% an end game piece of equipment, and to be honest with you, it's not something you even really need to worry about through any of the point through the game until you get to end game, when you want to fine-tune your build and work a ring into it. Now, got them all in order here. First off, the Ring of Wind is from Prime 1. This particular ring is going to give you a 10% chance to spawn a tornado that deals 62% of hero damage as storm damage and knocks enemies up for 3 seconds. Additionally, it's going to grant a 5% chance to dodge attacks. Now, obviously, this ring is going to pair real nicely with something like Drenching Strikes, as it's going to give you that electrocute combo, plus you get a little additional CC from the knockup, and a 5% chance to dodge attacks. So definitely a nice ring, and would be easy to fit into your build for any sort of electrocute type builds. Moving on to Prime 2. Prime 2 is the Ring of Time and is an absolute no-brainer for any ability power heroes. The secondary on the ring is, first off, you get increase your ability power by 10%. Just that alone is enough. If you're an ability power hero, this is the ring you're going to want. Now, in addition, you're going to get a reduction of cooldown of any of those abilities. This is going to come from Prime 2. Now, in Prime 3 has got the Ring of Poison. Your basic attacks have a 30% chance to deal additional poison damage and reduce enemies' resistance by 10% for 3 seconds. Now, this ring, I think personally, although I probably won't use it, if you just are focused on raw damage output and nothing else, this ring is going to lower those enemies' resistances, in turn making you do more damage. Additionally, you got the poison tick on top of it. So I think as far as raw DPS output, I personally believe this is probably the best ring. Now, raw DPS is not always what you're looking for, but if you're one of those brute force type folks that want to just mash through things, the Ring of Poison could potentially be the one for you. Once again, that one is in Prime 3. In Prime 4 is the Ring of Water. Your basic attacks have a chance to drench, or do 24% water damage and drench, and these additionally increases your maximum ability resource. This one, for me personally, is probably one of my least favorites. It's right there with the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire and the Ring of Water are my personal bottom of the list. Now, although the Drench would be nice, and it'll combine with Storm damage for that Electrocute combo, we've got Drench very easily with that Drenching Strikes. So, with that in mind, although you would free up that Drenching Strike shard slot, for me personally, it's not a big winner. Now, this one is going to come from Prime 4. Now, moving on to Prime 5, the Ring of Regen. Now, there's a couple of big aspects of this ring. First off, your survivability a lot of times is not always the focus. However, if it is, this ring is going to give you 20% increased health, which is good stuff. Additionally, you're going to get a little trickle of some healing throughout that with that percentage of your max health every 5 seconds. This ring, the main benefit, in my personal opinion of this ring, is if you are struggling with breaking in to any of the prime incursions, if you're having troubles with the new mechanic, this is going to be the easiest ring for you to get, because you can get this ring from doing the Yeti incursion. Now, the Yeti incursion has got its own theme. So just like in Chaos 8, there was no spiders, in Chaos 9, there is no of the new wyverns. So If you're struggling with the new mechanic, this may be the easiest ring for you to get, and a little survivability never hurts, as of course dead heroes do no damage. Now moving on to the ring that I personally am using most frequently, it's one of my favorites, the Ring of Earth. The Ring of Earth is going to come from Prime 6. Now this one is going to give you a 20% chance to root a target and do 76% hero damage as Earth damage. The main thing about that, the Earth damage is proccing every 3 seconds. Additionally, a huge benefit, reduces your damage taken by 20%. Now, reducing your damage taken by 20% is pretty darn good, and it's just as good as getting hero health on just about any character, except maybe the Turn of the Tides. So, I personally am using this ring most frequently. I combine that, of course, with Venomous Strikes, and I've got that automated Petrify just from spamming down lanes. This one is going to come from a Prime 6. Now, in Prime 7, you get the Ring of Piercing. This one is going to straight up free you up a mod slot. If you're playing a ranged hero that is concerned about projectiles, and if you're using Piercer Servo, the Ring of Piercing is going to take that Piercer Servo away, free up that mod slot, and that is going to give you an additional mod of your weapon. So the Ring of Piercing just definitely has huge value, although it doesn't add to the elemental combos, and it doesn't have a secondary function. Just being able to free up that mod slot on your weapon is quite huge. So if you do use Piercer Servo and you would rather use something else, the Ring of Piercing is kind of a no-brainer for you. That one, of course, drops once again in Prime 7. And then last but not least, we have the Ring of Fire. Your basic attacks have a 30% chance to deal an additional 40% damage as fire damage. This ring doesn't jump out at me as being just absolutely wonderful. I don't know. I just feel like I can get more value out of a ring somewhere else. Now, that to be said, you can use this ring if you want it, and without a doubt, it will be powerful for you in the right situations. So, if you want the Ring of Fire, this one is going to come from the Embermount Volcano map on Expeditions. Now, the deal with that is this is right in the drop pool with the weapons, so it's not a guaranteed drop. Every one of the other rings is a guaranteed win, a guaranteed item in the victory chest. The Ring of Fire is not. It's a chance to be in the victory chest with all of the other weapons. So, Ring of Fire not guaranteed. In my personal opinion, it's not fantastic anyway. If you like it, it's there for you. However, I personally probably won't be using this one. Now, where do you go to get these? Well, obviously, the Embermount Volcano map is, there's only one choice. Only on Prime 9, of course. Now, if you go to the Chaos 9 incursions and you look through the Prime map, what map would you do in each of these? Well, obviously, this is 100% opinion, but I will go through and give you my opinions. In Prime number 1, without a doubt, Gridlock's Horde. It's the Gates of Dragonfall, for God's sakes. It's super easy to do. It's probably the easiest of all the incursions. So if you want to go and farm Prime 1, in my opinion, Gridlock's Horde is probably the place to do it. Prime number 2, we've got the choice of Demon's Lair, Wyvern Enthusiast, and Forest Poachers. This one's a really tough one because there's several super easy places to farm it. However, with Demon's Lair being so fast, I feel like Demon's Lair would, without question, be the place to farm in Prime 2. For Prime 3, you've got the Malthius Incursion or Power Surge. This one is going to be completely dependent on how much you like Power Surge. If you enjoy Power Surge, that incursion can be quite fun. However, as far as ease in going through the map, the Malthius Incursion is pretty darn easy. If you can beat the Ramparts map, the Malthius addition to it and the healing rings that are the aspect of that incursion are pretty trivial in my personal opinion. Now moving on to Prime 4, you got the Return of Maldonis, the Dark Awakening, and the Bastille Master. Now, this one, I personally, although I know a lot of people don't like the map, the Return of Maldonis is one of my favorite maps. Personally, it's got a lot of history in the game. There used to be a secret on it that they removed. I just think it's a fun map. Most people don't like it because it does have a lot of mobs. It takes a little while to run. However, if I'm wanting to farm Prime 4, I'm going to farm it on Return of Mal'Donis. So that's just my personal favorite in Prime 4. Now, if we move on over to Prime 5, you got the Revenge of the Yeti, the Spectral Assault, and the Altar of the Theme. As I mentioned earlier, the Revenge of the Yeti has none of the special mobs, as it has its own Frost Mob and Yeti theme. The Revenge of the Yeti is also a fun and very pretty map to do. I personally would suggest Revenge of the Yeti as the farm spot for Prime 5. Now, Spectral Assault is a big fan favorite. I know a lot of people would choose that one. And, you know, if you like the Unholy Catacombs map, then Spectral Assault may be the one for you. I just really think the Yeti is a beautiful map. It runs super smooth, it's easy to do in comparison, and it's my personal choice. In Prime number 6, you got Wyvern's Den, you got Dawn of the Blood Moon. This one is really a flat-up hard choice, because they're both super fun maps to play. In my opinion, I think the Wyvern's Den runs a little bit faster. So I personally farmed Wyvern's Den to get my ring. However, both of these maps are just awesome. You know, obviously, the Terraria crossover for DD2 is probably one of the greatest things that ever happened in the history of the game. Dawn of the Blood Moon is where that map came from. So, yeah, it's a tough call there. Wyvern's Den does feel like it runs a little faster, though. And then, last but not least, Prime 7. You got Harbinger's Worship. You got Jester's Revenge. This one is completely dependent on you. They're both super easy maps. Harbinger's Worship can be super quick. If you have a good group that knows what they're doing, Harbinger's Worship can be stupid levels of quick. So I would have to say Harbinger's Worship on that one. However, I do have a lot of love for that Jester's Revenge map. It's just a fun map. The carnival themes were awesome when they were in the game. It's super fun to do now as well. Take your pick there. Harbinger's Worship is quicker. If you have the mechanic down, Harbinger's Worship is ridiculous. Jester's Revenge has got more of a fun factor, in my personal opinion. So, good luck to everybody out there getting your rings. Now, it's a nice addition to the game. Having an extra thing to farm is always quite awesome. Like I mentioned, I'm a big fan of that Ring of Water. That's the one I use most often. I get the damage reduction, I get the earth damage added into my attacks, or the chance of earth damage, and combining that with Venomous Strikes just gives me that remote crowd control that I personally am really looking for. So let me know what is your favorite ring down in the comments below, and let me know what map you would like to see a build guide on, and I'll go through and run the map and show you how I personally farm that particular map. But that will get it for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.